Hello everyone, good evening. How's everyone doing? Hasn't it been a while since last week? I've got a lot of lines on my chart here on my Bitcoin chart. I'm going to hide everyone, everything. Good evening. How's everyone doing? Hasn't it been a while? There we go. Echo's gone as well. Let's hide all these fib levels for a second. Last week we were here, just underneath these highs and kind of approaching what I thought actually, and now I need to put one back, approaching what I thought was kind of the 50% retrace level. Was it that one? Yeah, we were just underneath this 50% retrace level on the daily, like this. And I thought that there was a potential, having slowed up and got a bit choppy, that we could retrace from here. But if we blew through it, then the stops just above this 50% level would take us to the 61.8 next at 13,346. And that's exactly what happened. And what we've seen since then is a pretty sharp reversal. Now, I have a bunch of fib rules, okay? And I say in my head to myself, if we reverse at this fib, we're going to this fib next. And if we reverse at this fib, we're going to this fib next. So if I put them all on this chart like this, I'll say to myself, a reversal up here at an 886 goes to the 50% and then bounces. A reversal at 786 will always go first to 382 if it breaks the fib underneath it. So in this case, what we've got here is that golden ratio zone thing between the 61.8 and the 38.2. And if you break the 50% in the middle, you're pretty much assured of going to the 382, which is where I think we're headed to. That's our next stop at 9,441. Now, there is a potential for a little bullish bounce and another bounce before we get there, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think if you were looking for somewhere to buy for a decent bounce, I probably wouldn't buy until 94,400. Now, sometimes with this 618382 kind of golden ratio zone thing is if we break this 382, we go to the 236 fib. And I've often said to myself, well, how does it that happens, and what is it that could predict that? And if I look at here's the thing, if I look at the weekly candles and you look at the weekly close, you're going to say to yourself, well, was that really a reversal at the 61.8? Because we couldn't on the weekly close above this 50% level. And so if we say, oh, actually, this was a reversal at the 50%, that puts a whole different perspective on it, because 50% retraces are just corrective. That's like kind of not really downtrend over even. And one of the things about mean reversion or 50% retraces is you usually see 50% the other way. So if we go 50% the other way here from this high to low, then that's how we get to our 236 fib down here, because we're going to go 50% back from this low to the high. That takes us to 8,500. What if we go and overstretch like we did on the way up, and we go to the 618, then we're back down here at 7,231. So potentially I could make an argument based on this chart and this candle and this really nasty weekly shooting star reversal that we could come all the way back to the weekly 20 and potentially 7,500. I think more likely these lows. If we look at terms of trend on weekly trend, then these previous lows here really are where it's at. And that's 7,500. That's also the weekly 20 moving average. And I think if I put that back on, that would put us somewhere in between this 50 and 61.8, which would be a very common correction. So Jonathan Coleman says, so convergent at that. Well, no, Jonathan, to be honest, no. And I'm not sure. And here's the thing. If we count waves, and we can even do it here on the weekly, say this is our week one, and this is, our wave one, and this is our wave two. And what we've seen here is just a giant wave three. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within our wave three. Then all we're actually doing is correcting this wave three. then the most common retrace of a wave 3 is only back to the 38.2, which would put us back towards this 382 level. You know, 382 levels are very messy, very messy. So we could quite easily overshoot this or going down here. So that puts us back to our sort of 9,400 level this way. If we say that that's the case, somewhere between this 382 and 50. And then we could see another rally to new highs. That could maybe, I wouldn't like this though, because then we'd be looking at a Gartley pattern and a 786, which is kind of a bearish continuation pattern. So I would much rather say, oh, this entire wave 1 was over and we're retracing it. But it's not clear for me to see a way to count that. And I'm not the world's greatest counter. So I'm wave counter. So I'm going to say I think it's a pretty sure thing that we're going to 9,400 and we could potentially go to 7,000. And we need to see what happens here. Otherwise, I'm looking at 7,500. So, and we need to see how it unfolds. Now, we talked last week as well about seasonality, because if you go back on the weekly and you go back to previous years, we tend to see a bit of a, this is July in 2017. This is July in 2018, July, August in 2018. The market previously has a bit of a swoon in July, August. This was July, August 2016. Okay, this was July, August 2015. You can see about 8 weeks of decline. So we tend to, let's go back and check some more. This was here, here we are in July, August, all the way to October in 2014. So the market tends to have a little bit of a swoon. We didn't have one here. When did we? Mid-July, we found a low back in 2013. So it's a little bit seasonal for Bitcoin to have a bit of a pullback or some sideways trading in July and August. Now, if this unfolds, it's like if we don't drop too far and then we just do some sideways trading, that would be fine. But if it unfolds sharper than that, then I think that we can say, oh, this entire wave 1 is complete. So at the moment, let's just say we don't have quite enough information. So a 3.8 Brandon Martin, no, I said a 38.2 fib retrace level. So, you know, when you draw, so when you use your fib retrace tool, like for example, we drew from here to here, from this high to this low, this 38.2 here in the middle, 38.2 and 618 levels can sometimes be quite messy. That means the market goes all the way the other side and has a look and will still come back and close under your level, whereas 50% levels or 236 fibs tend to be very sharp. You'll reverse at them quite sharply. So that's all I meant by that. So I think we have more correction to come. Now there is an alternative, potentially. Now potentially, at the moment it looks like we've done an ABC, and gosh, maybe we could just rally once this ABC is complete. You know, we could do something like this. I'm not sure I like that, but let's try it like that. So if this is the case, so if we've gone A and then A, B, C, and then C for this is just our first leg, then potentially here at this 10,000 level, we're kind of at 61.8 of this first swing, maybe. It's like it's a bit woolly, but right, let's bear with me for a second. So we could potentially be at sort of 618 of this first drop, and this could be then wave A complete. And if that happens, then this is wave A. We're going to have a B leg. Now the B leg might be inside a lower high, but sometimes we see a marginal new high. Don't be surprised. And then we'll see a C leg. And it might end up that we make, if this is a wave 4, remember, it might end up that we make a big triangle where we have 5 waves and we just trade sideways like that. That would be fantastic for alts. Or it might be, you know, that we just drag it out in some kind of really awful, just slow, declining wedge. You know, you very often see wedges in this position in a wave 4. So we could, so this could be our first leg, rally from here, and then we could drop down like this. You know, that's what I'm open to. But I do think that this is a really good time to play defense, to put some money into Tether and to look at some altcoins. So de-risk a little bit in Bitcoin. Now, there was all this drama about that, and I made a fuss about it on Twitter about the massive drop in the Bitcoin shorts and the money that was sent, and how did this happen? I didn't realize, and this is my bad, I didn't realize that at Bitfinex you could transfer Bitcoin and claim these short positions, and so these short positions, 20,000 short, there were 30,000 contracts here, and somebody took it all the way down to 10, so they claimed 20,000 short contracts. Now, normally if you sent 20,000 Bitcoin to Bitfinex to sell, everybody would go, oh my God, a crash is coming. But if you can send 20,000 Bitcoin to Bitfinex and claim this short position, nobody bats an eyelid, and you get to sell at a really high price. And so I think I understand a bit more how this works now. And in this case, you know, using these Bitfinex short and long positions as an indicator of retail sentiment is probably not that useful. So, but I will keep looking at it because it's interesting. And somebody sending 20,000 Bitcoin to sell, you know, that in itself is a little bit bearish, I think, probably. So let's go back. Okay, so there we are. Now we've been running a competition, so I'm going to look at a couple of, and so I'm just going to look at Bitcoin, and then I'm going to do the, Usman says, any thoughts on the Bitcoin futures gaps? Yes, I have a big thing about gaps in futures. In fact, let's take a look at Bitcoin futures gaps. I feel with gaps in any market that if they don't fill pretty quickly, as in within 2 or 3 days, which this one did, they become support and resistance on the chart. So this one becomes support and resistance. So the bottom of this gap, this 10,000 level, will be support. And the same down here. And I would mark them as such. And what's really interesting about this chart is look how this is so common in crypto, look how they all line up with round numbers. So this support is 10,000. This next one is round number 9,000. Honestly, you can't make it up. And so, yeah, and then here, this big gap down here is where I think we could end up if we fall further. So this lines up pretty much with where I feel like the support is going to be if we're going to be buying back Bitcoin. It's either going to be down here around 9,000, or it's going to be down towards 7,000, 7,500, these lows, somewhere around there. So, but yeah, my money, you can see this here, for example, in this gap, in this 4-hour chart here. So we had this gap here, didn't we? Okay. And again, if you don't fill it pretty quickly, as in within, I say 3-4 days, then that gap becomes support and resistance. So when we come back to it, you can buy against it. So we're going to see the next gap where we've got the same pattern as here, and that's at 9,000. So we're going to look at this gap and say, you know, the first time we come back to this, we're likely to bounce off it. And if we drop into it, then we're going to fill the gap. So that's how I tend to feel about gaps. If you're trading them to fill, it needs to be in the first kind of day or two after they're formed. Okay, so I'm going to now look at, so we had a competition to celebrate that I've been running a room for 2 years, which is quite exciting. And I know it's Facebook and everybody hates Facebook. Nobody wanted to put their thing on, but if you entered, here it is on Facebook. So I am going to, if I can remember how to do it, I'm going to draw the winner. There, look, so it's SRM. So here's my list. So it should load up everybody who's entered. Thank you very much. And there's pages and pages of you. And if you've ever entered before, you're in here as well. And now I'm going to click this money. So we're going to have 3 prizes. So you can win 6 months to my room, a year's to my room, and then lifetime. How's that? So we'll do the first one. We'll say, which way should we do it? Should we do 6 months first? Okay, 6 months first. Ta-da! Ramon Mansilla, welcome to our room. You've won 6 months membership. I hope you enjoy it. And the next winner who wins a year's membership from my room, Jafar Railton. Hooray! Congratulations. Welcome to my room. Send me a message on Facebook after this and you can come in. Congrats, Ramon and Jafar. Okay, and then dun dun dun, drum roll. Lifetime membership. Are you ready? Michael Wang in Los Angeles. Welcome. Congratulations. You're a winner. Well, I hope you feel like you are anyway. Thank you very, very much for entering. Okay, that's business out of the way. Okay, so let's get back to the charts and Ethereum. Now, I've been quite bullish. A few of the bigger altcoins. One of them is Ethereum. One of them is Litecoin, Link. There's a few of these bigger altcoins that I think are going to really outperform Bitcoin for the next little while. Litecoin mainly because of the halvening, and Ethereum because I don't think people really want to go into Tether. And when we look at this Ethereum Bitcoin chart, this was these lows down here. Look at this amazing reversal today. Now today this resistance was at this 236 fib level, and that's at 0.02327,316. Now that we're above that, that becomes support. If we're going to keep going higher, we should not go back below 0.02327,316. In fact, on a pullback, if we get one, and we probably will, that will be support. We're going to look for us to go higher next. My next major resistance is going to be from this wedge, the 236 from this high, which is at 286.02864. That's here. So that's our resistance. This is our support. If we break 0.02868, we're going all the way up to the top of the wedge and new highs. So this is the key one here. That'll put us on the all the way up to the top level. So next resistance. Now we've got the daily 20 in the middle, but this is a pretty nice bullish reversal. So I see money going from Bitcoin to Ethereum as well as Litecoin. Now, this means we're going to go up against Bitcoin, in fact. But does it necessarily mean that Ethereum is going to go up against the dollar? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So let's take a look at where we are with SUS dollar, because I usually feel in an uptrend, that I'm going to put regular candles on. I feel like in an uptrend, we stay in an uptrend if we don't come back into the previous swing, we don't drop more than the 50% of the previous swing, and we don't kind of lose the daily moving averages. And we just lost the 20 moving average today, which is a little bit not what I wanted to see. So we haven't lost this horizontal support yet. I am expecting ETH to find support here or a little bit lower. And the reason for that, we'll do the measured move thing. Highs, we'll draw it like this. $268. Gosh, it is a little bit lower, isn't it? That would be where this swing of correction is 61.8 of the first leg. And that brings us back. Remember, we talked about those 236 fib. When you get above them, you shouldn't go back below them. So our support is around 268, and we shouldn't go back below 257. That's where we're wrong, and we're going to be in a much bigger correction, I think, in ETH US dollar. So it's a bit like, yeah, we should see a bounce soon, but it's not. We're not quite there yet in ETH US dollar, but it's definitely going to outperform Bitcoin. It is outperforming Bitcoin, and so when they both turn and they have a bit move higher, ETH is the one I want to be on, really, not Bitcoin at the moment. So a nasty pullback in an uptrend for pretty much everything, isn't it? Next thing I think is Litecoin. Now, I posted this chart of Litecoin last week. The reason is that this is a big ABC correction, and a bullish Gartley pattern. It's a bullish Gartley pattern from these lows, 786 fib. So our target for our first target is up here for sure. And that's also 50% of this ABC correction. But to confirm that we're getting there, we've got to get above and hold above the 236 fib retrace from this high to this low. Like when you have an ABC, you put your fib on both swings in an ABC correction. So both swings. So we need to get above 11,656 Litecoin Bitcoin, and we're kind of underneath it. Now, I am still long, mainly because, you know, a trend is higher, an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. Okay, this is our higher low here, because this is our uptrend. And as long as we don't break that, we are still in an uptrend. We're consolidating a bit sideways, but I'm willing to hold on. This is where my low is now, my stop is now. And I'm waiting to see if we can break above this level and keep going higher in Litecoin Bitcoin. So I'm still long Litecoin at the moment. But if we look at Litecoin US dollar, we are having a little bit of a across the board setback. And, you know, this daily 50 moving average and back again, you know, again, I'm going to go to weekly in here. Look, we are at this, from this high to this low, we are back testing this 236 fib level and a pretty good support and resistance level. So I'm looking to see if this will hold on a retest and we can carry on higher from here. But again, if we measure the swings or the legs of a correction, it may be that we need to go a little bit lower. Here, we're right at the 618 here, look. Now I've measured from this high to this low and I've projected from here. This is 61.8. If we lose this support level around here, and it might be a bit messy, so I'm going to probably prefer to draw it at the lows down here. So I'm looking for this retest of this lows to hold, because if it doesn't, then, you know, we're going to come back to probably 96. That's 20% lower than here. I don't want to sit in this and while it goes 20% lower. So I'm going to get out if these lows break in Litecoin US dollar. Okay? And I'm going to wait and see. Now, Usman asks a really good question. You know, Connie Brown wrote a really good book about Fibonacci stuff. And she never draws her fibs from the lows to the highs. She only ever draws them from the highs to the lows. But if you look at the Fibonacci Queen, you know, we projected and she draws them both ways. And I kind of draw them both ways, but, you know, depends which way I'm projecting. For example, I use pullbacks in a trend. So this is a pullback in an uptrend. I'll go from high to low in an uptrend to project where this uptrend is likely to stop. And I'll look for the 1.618 and the 2. And I'll look for these fib levels to give me levels on the way up. So here, from this high to low, this 1.618 was a big correction, back to retest the highs. Then we got to the 2.2, and so on. You know, I use them like that. So that's Litecoin. I'm still long. If this 236 fails, if we close underneath it today, or if we close underneath these lows, or if we close any lower in Litecoin Bitcoin, I'll probably get out and wait for a retest of the lows. I'm still much more bullish Litecoin than I am Bitcoin, but I think I'd rather be in fiat or tether for the pullback. That's all. Okay, so Bitcoin Cash is another one that has been significantly lately outperforming Bitcoin, but has stalled a bit. And this one, let's start with Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin, because now I kept looking at this. This is a daily chart, and I kept thinking this looks great. You know, we've got this move, we've got above the 200 moving average. If we could just pull back 50% here, hold this 200 moving and rally away, we'll be in an epic new thing. And we haven't. We just keep coming back and keep coming back lower. We keep losing fib support, and so for me, you know, this is setting up a big retest of the lows. And one of the major reasons that that is happening is if I go to the weekly chart and we put our big weekly fibs on from the highs to the lows, the way Connie Brown says, we are still in a downtrend. Whenever you can't get above that 236 fib, you're still in the downtrend. So that's like fib trend. And so ABC failed at the 236. This is setting up a full potentially retest of the lows. But usually I would say as a rule, when you get an ABC like that, it usually comes back to at least the 786. And here that would be these previous lows. So the next place we're going to look for the support here in Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin is a little bit lower down around these previous lows, around 0.033. Now that's against Bitcoin. That doesn't mean that it won't go up against dollar. But let's look at this tether chart, because where have we failed on this chart? Again, just from this swing, okay, from this high to this low, we've stalled again at this 236 fib level. So we really, and if you think daily trend, lower lows and lower highs, if we're going to start a new uptrend, we have to take out the most recent swing high, which is here, and we haven't done it. So although it looks really positive with these moving averages, till we get above this 236 fib, we're not really in a new uptrend here for Bitcoin Cash ABC. And that's big round number 500 where we've stopped. Now, we might just have a nice shallow pullback here, and that would be nice. If this is wave one, we've, you know, I'm not sure that this is complete, but if you look all the way up from the lows in February, we've held this daily 50 moving average, this blue 50 moving average. And today's the first day, look, that we are holding underneath it, not just underneath it yesterday, but holding underneath it. And so this says to me, bigger correction and likely back down to here, back maybe 50%, back to this swing low, back to the 200 moving average, something like that. So I think our big wave one is over in Bitcoin Cash. And instead of getting depressed, we should go to Tether, go to fiat money, get ready and buy the pullback, because this wave one is just the first wave of, you know, let's get ready. So, but yeah, a bigger correction underway. I don't like this underneath the 50 moving average. This should see some follow through. So if you're still holding some Bitcoin Cash, I would look for an opportunity to sell it. Now, Ethereum Classic. This one tried so hard. Let's go to the weekly. You know, we got a bit messy at these previous lows, and that sometimes happens. This is the daily chart of Ethereum Classic against Bitcoin, and I've got Kraken prices, but it's fine. So that sometimes happens. You'll see rounded retests. We'll make a new low, and then we'll cover on the level again. What you don't want to see, if we're building a kind of roundy bottom here, what you don't want to see is us try and get above that level and get rejected. And that's exactly what happened today. So this line is our previous swing low. Now we rally back, and it's now support becomes resistance. So we're headed lower. 540 in Ethereum Classic. Bitcoin is the next support for me. So very nasty price action. I'm wrong, and we're going up again if we can get back above 952. But in otherwise, that's the ETC Bitcoin. ETC US dollar. Tether isn't very pretty today either. But this is potentially support. It was support twice before. It is a retest, back testing this 236 fib. It may be that we don't close beneath it. We may be hold 7.39. And if we do, then potentially a bounce. And this is just a sideways range, you know. But again, if we lose this, we're headed back to the 200 moving average and these previous lows around the 5.5s in Ethereum Classic US dollar. So watch out for 7.39 to hold. Okay. Does Tarek, Litecoin US dollar and Litecoin dollar tether almost identical? Stephen, can you make the same amount of Bitcoin from being in fiat rather than being in alts, which are dumping but increasing in Bitcoin? Yeah, because the price of your Bitcoin has gone down in fiat as well, so it's still cheaper. So yes, you can. You see, in a bull market, when we were in 2017, when we were in a bull market, you didn't need tether. You could go to alts; they would just sit there, go quietly, do nothing, and then you would just wait until they took off. And that was in a bull market. Unfortunately, this first swing that we've seen this year in Bitcoin, the alts haven't really joined in. So it hasn't really been a bull market in altcoins yet. I'm really hoping that we do some nice sideways trading and we start to see that turn around. But not all altcoins are going to survive this bonfire of the altcoins that we've had. Not all of them. So a little bit bearish. Ethereum Classic under 7.39 US dollars. Next, we're going to look at Dashcoin because I love Dashcoin. This has really been one of the highlights for outperforming Bitcoin. You know, when you look at a lot of charts, a lot of altcoin charts look like this against US dollar. Not many charts look like this against Bitcoin, and this is one of them. Now, I thought I might have drawn these. I was hoping I said if I've drawn these fibs wrong, we won't get back above this level and we'll carry on lower here. We might still, but it's starting to look pretty bit more hopeful, let's put it that way, in Dash Bitcoin. I would say the final hurdle, when I go down to this hourly 200 moving average, this 200 moving average, the other thing you never want to see is like an ABC equal measured move. So I always mark that level where that's going to come in, because if we just do an sort of ABC and then flunk there and turn lower, that's a bear flag. Exactly. It makes it a bear flag. And a bear flag with two equal swings is going to terminate around 0.015. So be very careful that we don't see that. You get all bullish and say, oh, this is it, everything's going up, and then that's where we fail. And that comes from measuring this swing, just projecting it from this low. So it's about there, 0.015. Whenever you see this choppy, overlapping price action like this, where it struggle, you know, a trend is really clear, isn't it? You have a move and you have a pullback, and the moves don't tend to come into each other. But this is corrective usually. So this is correction. I have talked about Litecoin. Yeah, sorry. Hello. Welcome. So far, Dashcoin against Bitcoin is outperforming, but it's not quite convincing. I'd like it much better above 0.015, and then I could say, yeah, you know, we're really going to get a groove on. Dash Bitcoin though. US dollar. Happy days. Now let's take this off. This is another one, you know, that it's another altcoin that has, I hate to say this, failed at a really important level. Okay, now this isn't even from the highs. This is the most recent swing lower from April 2018 in Dash US dollar. And this 236 fib level, 4 times we've tried to get above it and hold above it and have failed. And so this is not, it's not all over yet. But again, this is another altcoin for me where ever since February and the reversal that we had in February, we've held these daily moving averages and this 50 moving average, and today we've lost it. That starts to suggest a bigger correction underway. The other way I look at them is if you lose the 236 fib, so you draw it from this low to this high. Okay, if you lose that 236 fib in a correction, you're usually going to come back to at least 50. And if we look at these candles, and I'm just going to make sure I've got regular candles and not Heikinashi. Now you can see every other time we tested this fib level on the 27th, on the 28th, And yesterday, we didn't close below it. Today, we dropped below it and we're fully holding below it. So for me, that's a bearish reversal confirmed for Dash against US dollar. And I think that we're headed lower in this one as well. And I think we're headed down to this 122 and maybe these lows, which may be maybe the 0.618 level. Yeah. Somewhere between these two levels and this 200 moving average, I think is where we're headed back to in Dash dollar. So this is a pretty much across the board summer sell-off. We really do, you know, there are going to be very few that are going up, and we really do need to play defense and get some money onto the sidelines or into fiat so that it's ready for them when they bottom. You can hold them all the way back, you know, but there's something really psychologically damaging about like this, from 148 down to 100. That's a third. So you're going to look at your account and you will have lost a third of your account. And that can be quite psychologically damaging. I don't know that you want to do that really. So that's Dash. I think that one's going lower. Sorry to say. Here's ADA. Let's try ADA now. Miss ADA never quite got to the 236. This is ADA tether, so it's not that much chart history. Let's look at ADA dollar because we have more. We'll calculate it like this. Here we go. Now, again, from this high, let me take that away. From this high to this low, we failed to the tick at the 236 fib. It was a very good support and resistance level here in ADA as well at that level, and that's where we failed in ADA dollar. So another one which looked really constructive, trading above all of our moving averages, all ready to go up, and then has reversed. Oh my god, I've missed Ripple. Sorry, I'll do it. The Daleks would have listened. The Daleks would not have let me finish if I hadn't covered Ripple. They're brilliant. So I screwed that up. So we had a bit of support here, didn't we, sideways? It does look like we're starting to lose it. So whilst this looks better than some altcoins, I fear that the path of least resistance, I'm afraid, in this ADA is lower. And 618 again, previous lows, 200-day moving average. I'm looking for 0.061974, further to fall. Sorry. We could bounce before we break this level. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens. We could do a bit of this, but I still think that we ultimately end up a little bit lower here in ADA. Now, let's look at ADA Bitcoin before we go back into Ripple, because I messed up. Now, ADA Bitcoin has been outperforming Bitcoin, which is quite a surprise. I had us down. You know, when I kind of thought, oh, this maybe is it's a bit of a rubbish trend line. But I was starting to think that ADA had a firm date retesting the lows. Okay, so, and I'm not convinced that we aren't going to go there, to be quite honest. I still think that we could. The thing is, what is going to signal a bullish reversal in terms of weekly candlesticks? I'm going to say, you know, there's a rule in Japanese candlesticks where if you go more than 50% of the open close, then that's usually a bullish reversal. So when you get a little inside bar, like we've got here, a harami, for me, it's a little harami. It's a bullish harami if we can close more than 50% of this open close. So here in Ripple, in ADA Bitcoin, that's at 824. So we should mark the weekly bull bear line here at 824. So that usually works in Japanese candlesticks. So when you get like reversal patterns, you know, morning star, like here, This is a morning star, evening star. You know, everybody looks. You go more than 50% of this green candle, and you're going down. And so that's where we are. Above 824, then in ADA Bitcoin would be a bigger bullish reversal. We could probably also do that and just buy fibs and say, where is that 236 fib? Very often these resistance, they all kind of line up. Oh look, 821 is the 236 fib, 824 is the weekly. So that's our major resistance for a number of reasons now then in ADA. And if we can get above 824, what's this low here? A little bit higher, then I think that we've got a reversal. Otherwise, that's going to be major resistance. Okay, now time for Ripple. Dun, dun, dun. I've not been very bullish about Ripple in recent weeks, I have to say. Now, this is Ripple Bitcoin. And I'm not very happy. I don't really like how I've drawn these fibs, to be quite honest, because a 786 fib is normally quite sharp. So I'm going to put regular candles on. I'm going to leave them on anyway, but I don't want to lick it. Just because I want to see where that 886 is. But yeah, it's just rubbish, isn't it, the way we've done this? So, in fact, let's take that away. I think that we're still in a downtrend in this one. If this was our first leg of correction and this was our bounce, then how much lower are we going to go in Ripple Bitcoin with our second swing? Potentially back to the lows. Now, that doesn't look like an ABC, and I always thought this was an ABC. In fact, I never thought we would lose this support. But the fact is that we have lost this support. So we're going to make it really simple. If we get back above this double bottom that we broke, we're going much higher. This double bottom on the weekly kind of lines up a little bit higher above our 50% of this candle. So we'll allow it and say, you know what, that's going to be us for sure. And if we put our 236 fib on from this low to the high, that confirms our bullish reversal from this most recent swing. Here we are right on it. So let's go down to the daily and see what we're doing here at this level. And if we've met any resistance here, because this short term would say we've got a lot more upside if we can get above it. I'm just going to make sure I've drawn it right. It looks like I have, but sometimes I don't. There we go. I have. So short term, our fib resistance is here. We've been underneath it for what, the last 6 hours is at 38.76. I think if we get above 38.76, we've got quite a good chance of taking on this 4,000 level that was troublesome and doing much more to the upside. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, see where that might take us. Because this is the 236 fib here. I would normally say in a correction at least we'd go 50% and back to this 4-hour 200 moving average. So above 38.88, look for 4,500 next. But this is pretty strong resistance around here at the moment, and it might be that we just get a false break of this and have a bit of trouble here. So not quite a reversal yet in Bitcoin, in Ripple Bitcoin, even though it looks pretty positive, and it does look pretty positive. Not quite enough. Now, where are we going to go if we do? Because this is just this last swing we're going to looking at, isn't it? If we do go and above, and we retake these lows and we retake this double bottom, then the next objective to reverse the daily trend, because this is the last big swing lower, is back to 5,300, and then we'll see what happens there. But yeah, still not quite enough to reverse the downtrend for me yet, but some levels to watch that might say it's happening. Now, that's Ripple Bitcoin. Doesn't mean you're losing money in Ripple Dollar. And in fact, Ripple Dollar is not quite such a chart, but so we had this sideways range here in Ripple Dollar. Here was our lows. We tagged them 1, 2, 3 times. So there's the bottom of our range. Our moving averages all went flat. And here was the top of the range from this spike high here. Now, I got a little bit excited when we got up here because I was like, yeah, we've broken out from the range. We should see, and you draw it as a box and we should go twice this distance. And it was a little bit of a false breakout. And that's a real pain in the ass because false breakouts are really powerful reversal signals. So now we could be looking at coming all the way back at least to this 200 moving average down here and these previous highs. So that's taking us back to 0.35. If I go down to 4 hour as well, yeah, false breakouts are my least favorite thing. Now, if that's equal to that, then 0.365, yeah. So we're back in the sideways range in Ripple Tether, and I just don't have a reason yet to buy it. So I don't have a reason to sell it. It's sideways, and it's gonna potentially come back and retest this 200 moving average. So that could be our summer swoon in Ripple. Okay, next one we're going to look at. Did we do NEO? Little ant shares. Let's see NEO. Don't ignore this one because this one might be going up. It's in an upswing, isn't it? But this is really no different. This is NEO Bitcoin and sideways range. We really need to break out of it, and we haven't. I got a little bit depressed because I thought NEO might have been a bit of an ABC, but it came all the way back to the 786 and bounced, and now I think we're on our way up again. And notice how in NEO, this 236 fib level, I'm just trying to get rid of some stuff. This 236 fib level that was support and resistance here, look. See how we couldn't close above it, couldn't close above it? It became resistance again when we came back to it. Let me move that back. It became resistance again when we came back to it. And so here, for the last 4 days, we got stuck underneath this level and we just broken up again. In fact, in the last hour. So I'm feeling pretty positive about NEO breaking up above this level and headed back to the top of the range at 1720. And this level becoming one of those support and resistance levels. So once we're above it, you should actually be able to buy against this with pretty tight stop. 1540, and we're looking for 1718 to see if we can break the top of the range in NEO Bitcoin. If we can, and we do the bigger swing, our target all the way along has been 50% of this drop and this 200-day moving average, which is at 1976. So look for a test of 1720. If we get above 1720 in NEO, we're going to go to 1976 and NEO Bitcoin. Okay, so let's now see NEO US dollar, because going up against Bitcoin, of course, isn't a guarantee. And, this looks pretty good. I think we're about to get a bullish cross of these daily moving averages, but we need to come back and test them to find support and also these prior highs. So our support, if we're going to stay in an uptrend, is lower, around 1405, maybe a little bit lower, to retest these daily moving averages. But initially, that's where I would be looking. If I was going to rely on fibs for where my support comes in, it's going to be lower, isn't it? Look, 50% of the whole rally, and the 20 and the daily 50 moving average are right here at 1316. So, bearish so far, pretty nasty bearish reversal candles, and potentially we come back to 13s. Now, if we fail, if this is just going to be a short term, if we're going to stay in an uptrend, we've already underneath this 236 fib, but maybe the 382 catches us, which is this previous high. But I'm going to say more likely the daily moving averages at the 50% back. So NEO dollar, just like Bitcoin, looking for a bigger pullback. Okay, let's just see. Do you know, I wouldn't underestimate in Bitcoin although I think we come back to around 9,400, I wouldn't underestimate the number of people that are going to try and buy it against 10,000. Just because it's one of those levels. I'm just not sure that that's going to be the low. Now, Monero is another one. How nasty has the sell-off been in Monero? This is Monero Bitcoin. Why? I ask myself why. Now, I tried to draw a lot of fibs for where the support might be in Monero. I think if we continue lower, that I think down here at, yeah, was this from here? This is how I draw, project. Okay, fib support. Okay. So I've drawn, and I'm going to just, so my chart's not messy. I'm going to take these away. So I've drawn from this low to this high. Normally 1272 is the first place I'd look for support. Okay, and we got it here. It's very messy. 1.618 we blew straight through. That was resistance. So maybe this 2.618, this is going to be my last line. I don't know. I tend to rely on the most recent one, but I also like to do a bunch of them and look for confluence, see if everything lines up together, if anything's catching it. In this case, to be honest, pretty much nothing is. So let's try one more thing. Take that away. We'll do this and we'll look for where this is here. This is the thing when the things line up together. So for example, I draw this from here, and so from this high, low to high, the 1272 lines up with the 2.618 from this correction. Then I kind of go, you know, we probably have got a bit of a level here. I might try this swing here and project from that one. We're underneath that one, aren't we? So that's not going to be it. Let's try this one. So yeah, a bit like the Fibonacci Queen, I tend to look for clusters of support. And so I have a feeling, you know, unless we can get, so we'll do the thing with the weekly candle, unless we can go more than 50% of this really nasty drop candle, or let's call it on the daily, and say unless we can close more than 50% of this really nasty red drop candle here, let's see where that 50% level is. It's at 87.61. So 87.61 is like our bull Marabuso line. I'll do it 71. Okay. Anyway, it's just around there. So you can see that from this drop, we've stayed in the bottom half. So these are not bullish haramis. They're just little sideways inside bars. We're going to get bullish if we can get above this horizontal resistance level. And so far, we haven't managed it. Even though we've tried it on the hourly, we haven't been able to hold above it. So that's going to be our bullish reversal line in Monero. Whilst we stay underneath it, we risk carrying on lower and potentially 6,500. That's Monero Bitcoin. Now Monero dollar, I think this is worse actually. This one I can't quite remember. Here we go, yeah. Not worse, I shouldn't have said worse. Look, this is another altcoin. Everyone, same pattern. Ever since February, they've been riding these daily 50 moving averages all the way up. This is their trend support, and we've just broken it here again in Monero. Our next horizontal support comes in a bit lower, down here about 80. But I think more likely this is a bigger correction underway. Now this actually would be 50% of this swing. Yeah, I would look for 80. And if that fails, we're going all the way to the 200 moving average. So I think fib confluence works very much for me, yeah. Okay, so that's the Monero. Look for support at 80. ZRX is another one. Quite spiky, ZRX. We'll start with the daily chart of this one. I'm going to say against the dollar. Okay, this is We've been in a range trade since May. This is the bottom of our range. This is the top of our range. And here we are at the bottom of our range. And it looks like we might be finding some support. I'm not 100% sure, but it does look like we are. So for me, you know, if we start flipping some hourly moving averages, if we rally more than 23.6%, something like that, then I would get interested. And at the moment, it hasn't done enough. So when I say flip hourly moving averages, I mean a rally and then a retest that turns these moving averages the wrong way round, and then we make a bit of a base, and then I go, oh yeah, now if we break the highs, we're going up, and then I'm going to look at it as a buy. For now, we've just tagged a level and got a green candle, and it's just not quite enough to convince me that the support is going to hold yet. So it's a maybe in ZRX Tether. Let's look at ZRX Bitcoin and see if it's any more hopeful. And the short answer is no. You know, it's still just a green candle and sideways in a downtrend. Let's just take this most recent, just this very most recent swing. And we say if we exceed the 236 from this, then okay, maybe we're going to do more upside. Maybe we'll come back and challenge this broken fib level here at 3,500. And then, yeah, above 3,500, we've got a bullish reversal. So, you know, sometimes these fib levels, they don't hold. Sometimes a market will come down to them like this. Say we're looking at this fib level and it'll break. And everybody go, oh, and we'll come back. And the people that tried to buy the level, as soon as we come back to it, they'll go, oh, thank God. And they'll sell here because they'll go, oh, thank God, I'm break even again. And we'll dip a little bit lower. And then the next time we rally back and we try again. And the last people say, oh, look, it's this level, sell, sell. And we'll try again, but there's really no appetite for it. And we end up getting one of those head and shoulders patterns. And then when they break, you know, that's fine. We can see that at level. So at the moment, though, we've broken this level. We haven't done anything like that to convince me that we might come back again. But we could do it, you know, so we could come back to this level. And we could do a bit of this or, you know, and then if we break above it, we've got something going on. But if we just come back up and we carry on lower, then 1170 and a retest of the lows, I think is where we're going in ZRX. It's still against the dollar and Bitcoin looks like a downtrend to me on the daily. On the hourly, short term, see this 236 fib where we got rejected yesterday or the day before. If we can get above that at 29.43, then we can go and challenge this important level. But for now, we're just stuck here, I think. And watch out for sellers. So 29.43, if we get above that, 35.70 is the level to watch up here. Okay. Parsers, Bitcoin is like a stone skipping across the water. You can count the bounces, but eventually it'll sink. It's so true. It is so true. And just when you think you've caught them right, there'll be an X something and it'll do another one. But the problem with Bitcoin is it's so addictive. Nothing rallies like this. Like there really isn't another market like Bitcoin for when it's going up. And what like this squeeze, you know, the rally that we really had this month. If you go from, you know, the beginning of the month to the 26th, like we went from 7,500 to pretty much 14,000. That's almost double in 1 month. There is, you know, not even the craziest penny stocks don't do that. That's why Bitcoin is so enticing. Okay, ZRX. So we've done ZRX. Let's look at XLM because this is another XLM chart of disappointment. Altcoin disappointment. So let's clean up and take everything off. We'll look about why this is so. Now, in XLM, dollar, It was that our most recent swing high from here, or was it from up here? I'm not quite sure. Either way, we didn't quite get to our 236. Either way you draw it, we didn't quite get to our 236 fib, or we really tried hard and we failed at it. Either way, we're still in a downtrend because of it. If we measure the swings like this, you can see that we made an ABC equal measured move. So this swing and this swing, even though the slopes aren't even in distance, were thing. And so not being able to go beyond that ABC measured move, not being able to overcome that 236 fib, that unfortunately makes this whole thing a correction. And if we look at big picture, a big bear flag just like this one, unfortunately, an XLM dollar. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to retest all of the lows. Again, an ABC that reverses like this, as I said before, usually finds support either around these lows here or the 786 fib. So we'll call it that, 786 level. There it is. So we've got a bit further to fall till we get there, 0.09227 in XLM dollar terms. And that's where I think that we'll probably find some support. If we look at XLM against Bitcoin, so again, that's 0.09227 XLM against Bitcoin. Now, is this enough to reverse the downtrend? It's a pretty nice pattern, but, and you know, when we saw this kind of basing before, we did get a big move. Clearly, we're in a massive downtrend. We can't, like, only a crazy person would deny that. Have we reversed the downtrend here? I'm going to say I don't think we have, really. If we say this was the last swing low here, then that we've got to overcome for the trend, then that's there. Not yet. We might. Doesn't mean we won't. We might. We might see a bit of a pullback here. And if we do that and we get a bit of a, that would be an interesting pattern, and a more interesting pattern to buy, a head and shoulders pattern here or something like that. But above 1,000, that's the big round number, 1,000. That seems to be where we're having trouble. I'm going to go back to the daily. We'll look for targets. So one of the reasons I wouldn't buy this is that most final waves are 5 waves, right? So if this is 1, 2, 3, this is probably a wave 4, and we've got a final wave to come. And so that, for me, would be a bit of a thing. Let's see if the fib levels. So we'll try one more thing for where we might find some support here. It doesn't seem to be paying much attention. Yeah, none of those kind of old tools are working. So let's say back to the 20 moving average, back to around 1,200. If we can get above 1,000, or maybe these previous lows. But for me, it's not quite enough to be interesting yet. In this one. Broadening wedge. Yeah, broadening wedge could also be, yes. So, you know, when you draw patterns, chart patterns, okay, you draw it with 2 touches, and your third touch is what validates it. So this resistance will get validated with a rejection here. This lower one, if we get a reaction when we touch it, will validate it. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. So broadening wedge, okay. So Lumen, it's not a very exciting night, is it, for great coins to buy? Let's find some that are looking a little bit better, because believe me, there are some out there. I've got QTUM on my list because QTUM is making a pretty interesting run for it. In QTUM, if we draw these previous highs like this, and we're looking for a close above them, which is what we've got here, and a hold above them, I think QTUM's got a little bit further to squeeze higher here, and I'm going to say my target, although we've got the big 50% target where we failed before, that's going to be resistance. But if we break it this time, and if we break the 200 moving average, my next target is 657. That's my bearish target, where we've got an equal measured move. And if we go beyond that, we're going to go back to the highs at 850. So 657 and 850 if we get above here. But it's, to me, outperforming Bitcoin, starting to look like it could be quite interesting. And look, let me just make sure I've drawn these levels right. There, I think I have. Anyway, what I always like to see is, remember, I like to see a break above and a pullback and a hold and it turn higher again. And so far, we've spent all day in this very narrow range. So this next turn higher could be it. That takes us to our 522 resistance. And remember, above 522, 657, and then 850. Very nice look of our bottoming pattern in QTUM Bitcoin. So, you always thought I sounded like a trans. I know. Why is my voice so deep? It's not fair. It wasn't always like this. I don't smoke. I don't know why. Okay. Steem. Okay, Steem. Now, Steem. This is another, honestly, this is another one where I find that, you know, this is just a little cluster of a bounce in a really nasty downtrend. And this is just not enough yet to make me want to buy it, unfortunately. I don't want to say, oh, Steem is going to hell, but it's just not. I know everyone's going to be saying, well, what would it... have I got Steem on? Yeah, I have. So here's the daily chart. We have started to turn green on our Heikin-Ashi. That usually does mean some follow through, yes. So where's our bull bear line? First of all, just this most recent swing lower, we're going to go higher above this 236 fib level. So 355. That's going to be our first upside target. If we get above that, we can get a bit excited. And that is a previous low as well. So that adds weight to it as a support and resistance level. Short term, I think it does actually look good to go there. It looks like we're trying to break above this trend resistance, this hourly trend resistance. And so maybe a good shot to go to 355. But only above 355 would we maybe start setting up a bigger reversal. When I say I mark a level and I look for a bullish reversal of the moving averages, okay, here we had a bounce. Our moving averages stayed in a downtrend. Here we had a bounce. Initially they stayed in a downtrend, but when we got above them, we flipped them the other way around, the 20s above the 50, and then we can buy pullbacks against them. That's honestly basically my strategy in a nutshell. You wait till the moving averages reverse and you buy pullbacks against them. And so we are seeing that here. If we can break above the 200 moving average, Steem may have some potential. But it's a really nasty downtrend. The next place that you're going to look for Steem Bitcoin is 50% of this drop here at 426. And then above there, you're going to say, okay, maybe we can turn things around here. Then the next level for sure are these previous highs here, which are around 550, 560. So it's got a lot of work to do. And then when we get there, we'll never get through that the first time. And then we'll probably see a bit of this. And then we can start talking about a bottom in Steem. So it's got a lot to do. This is just the first little, it's like the first leaf that comes out in spring. It's really not enough of a turnaround yet. So, and I know I'm a trend trader, so, you know, I think it's much safer. Okay. VeChain. VeChain. Now VeChain, this is VeChain Tether. I've drawn my fibs from this high to this low because I thought they were working and this 382 fib was working. But actually maybe I should be drawing it from this high to this low, all-time high here, Tether at Binance. And maybe we should be saying, you know, this is the key important 236 fib that we need to overcome. And it's at 9089. So 0.009089. Until we can break that, we are still in a downtrend in VeChain Tether. And it's quite important that we do. So for now, this pullback is pretty gentle. It's corrective. We're not collapsing. We haven't made a new low, but we're not going up in VeChain until we break this level. So that's where I would put my alarm. 9,089. We could draw it like this as a triangle. We could draw it as a horizontal level, but until we get above that level, the risk is lower in VeChain. And I know they announced the share buyback, ICO buyback, but that's what we need to see against Tether for this to go higher, above 9,089. Then our target's going to be, see this support and resistance level, 12,700 and then 15,600. And potentially these highs, that's a pretty good target at 20,000. But until we get above 9,090, not going anywhere in VET, US dollar. In VET, Bitcoin. Now, when we look at this, this is pretty nice, a pretty nice pattern. It is a pretty good base. It's stopped going down. You wouldn't say we're still going down in VET on this daily, but we're not going up yet. We've got a double bottom, I think, and we've got these lows that we need to achieve. Let's look at them. Let's look at it like that. So 80. So now on the hourly, it looks like we've won all the way above it and all the way back and yada, yada, yada. And this is why it does help to look at this daily view and you can see the close. You need to see a close above this 80 level if we're going to go higher. And until we do, it's a little bit here or there, you know. I would take every buy setup I got. We haven't got one here yet. And see if we could get, for me, I'd like to see it above that level and then buy it. It's a good support and resistance level. We should see something like that. But so VeChain, a Bitcoin above 80 has really good upside percentile. I'm going to draw where we go. We will go first off 50% of the last swing lower and the 200 moving average at 107. And then above 107, probably back to these highs at 158. And we're going to look for our bigger 236 fib at 123. The 123 next. So maybe, but not until we break out of this sideways range and we break 80 is VeChain going to do it. Now that should have been quite good news. You know, the market, if they were going to really buy back these coins, the market should have been anticipating it and the price should have gone up. I'm quite surprised it hasn't happened. But maybe when they step in and start buying them, we'll see it move higher. TNT is next. Now, nobody asked for this coin. I stuck this one in because I liked it. Who wouldn't like this? Look at this lovely blossoming pattern. It's a tiny coin, but I thought I'd mention it. One of the things you look at, you know, I've seen people that have really good strategies with trend lines on RSI. So you know what an RSI indicator is, a relative strength indicator. It's a really nice oscillator. The thing with this oscillator is it's based on closing prices. So when you draw a trend line on your RSI, okay, like this. It's the same as drawing a trend line through closing prices on your candles, not the tails, like this. And sometimes that works on your real chart as well, okay, because if you want to see, you know, especially when you've got a spiky range and it's not clear where the top of your range is, if you draw where your highest close was, so if I draw my sideways range here in Ethereum, the highest close was here at around 585. And today we're going to have the first close above that level. So I feel like we're kind of creeping higher. Obviously, we haven't quite got a new high, but for me, it's a sign that we might just be setting out to break out of this range. And this double bottom confirmation level is not this high here, it's this high here. So this one is the one that's going to be defended next, because high in the middle of the two, if we break that, we go twice this distance and we get to our upside target here of 10,070. So this is the high that we need to get above. It's here, 445. Above 445 and TNT, we're going to go to 1,071. Anyway, sorry, 680. I must have misdone that. 680 is the high that we need to break, and then 10,071 is the target. But whenever you see that kind of pattern, that's a really nice bottoming pattern if we can break out of this range. And the fact that we've got this highest close since in a year does point to maybe we could be breaking out in TNT next. The next one is BAT. I got a little bit excited about BAT and yesterday. Let's start on the weekly in BAT because we'll clean our chart out completely so we're all clear. Now in BAT we made a big ABC correction. We made two huge equal swings. We came all the way back. Not quite though, it's a bit annoying. I was waiting in BAT for this 786 fib level and this double bottom, and we didn't quite get to it. And so I said to myself, you know, if we're going to bounce like this though, this hard, then maybe we're not going to, the level's getting front run and we're going to race and go ahead of there. And it's starting to look on this weekly like we really are. A close today above this 20 moving average, above this range. If we look short term at the last downswing, which I was looking at in BAT, yeah, we're just smashing it. Like this is the trend. We've reversed this on the hourly, on the 4 hourly. We're above all of these moving averages. This was the last swing high. So we've reversed our 4 hourly trend. And so I think we're headed back to this 236 fib at 39.32 and we'll see what happens there. And if we break 39.32, then we're going to go back to these highs up here, I think around 6,000. So BAT's looking really quite good off these lows. I don't think basic attention tokens are shitcoin. But yeah, I get to BNB. The Amazon. We'll call it the Amazon of shitcoins. So yeah, basic attention token. Looking really, really good. And above 3932. Very, very good. Back to 6,000. In BAT, US dollar. Tether. Binance, let's see this. Here we go. Here's this wedge consolidation. Now I'm really bullish this one. 5 waves up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC correction. And we've got this swing. And this second swing is 61.8 of the first swing. So this is why I love BAT US dollar tether. And here's this declining wedge. Here's the daily 50 as our resistance. That was resistance at the middle of June. We're really close to a breakout level in basic attention token US dollar as well. So this is why I love the look here in basic attention token. Okay, now because this was 5 waves up, ABC, this next swing should be much bigger than this one and a really good move. So I'm getting quite excited about this one. Let's see. My first target would be up here, gosh, 0.63. Big new swings for basic attention token, I think, if we can break out and get going here. So that's that one. Zil, EOS, Link, and then we get to your Amazon and the shitcoins, BNB. Honestly, what was it? I've had some really bad trolls here. It's just hilarious. It's hilarious. You just got to laugh, really. It's free. If you don't like it, switch off. Okay, so BAT, Zil. Listen, I love this. Look, above this daily 50, this should really fly. Don't ignore BAT. Okay, BAT is one of my top 3. Okay, my top 3 to outperform Bitcoin. I think we're coming into a summer swoon. Probably my number 1 coin is going to be Tether, but I'm going to say that basic attention token and Litecoin are, looking really quite good to outperform. I still think Link has more room in the tank as well. So I think Link has further to go as well. Okay, stop. Zilliqa. Okay, Zilliqa. This is Zilliqa dollar. Sideways range. Frustrating sideways range, to be honest here. And the weekly 50 kept a cap on it as well. I did this most recent swing lower, but this is our sideways range that we seem to be stuck in Zilliqa dollar. And really we can't go anywhere until we get out of it. This is a weekly look, but on the daily look it's the same. And so it's quite hard to be here. But as you know, when you draw trend line supports or consolidations like this, I've got 4 touches. If this breaks down, this would be, you don't want to be holding Zilliqa, because I think we could see another nasty leg lower in Zilliqa dollar. Otherwise, we'd be looking for a bullish reversal here. I think more likely bullish reversal. But when you've got dead flat daily moving averages like we've got here, all bunched up in the middle at the same price, it says only one thing. There's no trend. There is no trend. We're stuck going sideways. And you can get chopped up to death trying to buy it. And is it going up? Is it going down? In and out? And it's not good. So maybe we get a bullish reversal against the bottom of this wedge. No sign of it yet. Zilliqa, Bitcoin. Again, I'm going to go to the weekly because I want just some perspective that we are still making new lows. And so although we've got a little bit of a bounce so far this week, just like everything in crypto, I don't think we're quite where we need to be now. This 1.618 level that I thought might have been support in Zilliqa Bitcoin at 168, that is also kind of 50% of this red candle. So only a close, daily close or weekly close above 168 would be bullish. Otherwise, I think that this is the 1270. Otherwise, I think we continue lower to 125 next. So above 168, happy days. Otherwise, look for another swing lower to 125 in Zilliqa Bitcoin. Just looking at the hourly to see. So that's our level there, right there on the hourly, 168. Above it, happy days. EOS is next. I should call EOS like a windsock because it's just like all of the others. It's not really a very good safe haven. It's not really a very good alternative investment, as in, now, I do like how we rallied in this one, and I do like how we went 50%. And so here, this is EOS Tether. So from the high that we made in June, to the low that we made in December, we stalled at the 50%. When you do 50% going that way, your support is 50% going the other way. So our support here is 5.12. So we can't buy it. So hold on to your FOMO. And the other thing you want to see is you kind of want to see equal measured moves, something like that. That gives you a bit more confidence. Okay, and if I draw my equal measured move here, you can see, trying to line it up, that's a little bit lower, in fact, than there's 50% even. And so this is our zone. Between 4.935 and 5 is our support where we want to buy EOS, Tether, back, and we're not quite there yet. Hopefully, we do it really slowly over the next little while, and the 200 moving average catches us up here as well, like this, and then everything will be good for EOS and we can all buy it. But until then, we're not quite there. So around 5, between 4.93 and 5, and further to 4. Now, I'm wrong, because remember, fibs, these fibs are like a staircase. So when you break them, you know, if you can get back above them, you're going up again, okay? And you can see that this 38.2 fib is very good support and resistance. Look how many times high, low, low here. So if we look at this on the hourly and we see that if we get above this level, 5.96, because we're rallying hard towards it, then back above 5.96, I'm wrong, we're not going down anymore, we're probably going up again. So that's major resistance. So if you've got some EOS and we fail there, watch out that we don't go lower to 5. Okay, that's EOS, Tether. EOS Bitcoin. You know, sorry. When you fall like so far in such a straight line, then you're bound to get a reaction. And we are actually starting to see one here finally in EOS. If I take the most recent swing, then we should get to 6,171. If I take from this high, we get to 6,480. I think I'm going to go with the higher one, say 6,480. That's where we should get back to. I'm missing a 20 moving average, so I'm going to put that on. And look, that's where my daily 20 is. So 6,480. Because EOS has fallen so far. So we do have quite a decent bounce trade here. How would you get in? You know, when we get above this 200 moving average here and these prior highs, we probably should find some support around there. But I would expect, yeah, once we get above this, we should get a pullback to retest this 200 moving average on the hourly. And then you've got something to buy against for that next run higher in EOS Bitcoin. But remember, this is EOS Bitcoin, EOS dollar. Like, keep an eye and make sure that you're not losing money. I think it's okay, but Path says most of these chart points to one thing: the drop before the pop. I completely agree. I completely agree. But one thing we all forget is the time factor. I do think that we've had an amazing run in crypto, in Bitcoin, since February. And so we are due at least a kind of few weeks of Bitcoin coming off. Initially, it's not been very good for alts. It may, you know, I'm just hoping everything calms down and it does start being good for alts again. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Link. Now, Link is one of those ones where everything's pretty bloody good. So really, Doge. I keep trying to draw lines on my Doge that will give me some heart. Okay, here's my Link. Now, I'm going to put these fib levels on the left. So this is the fib levels I drew from this first swing lower in link. Okay. Our first rally took us to the 1272. Then our second rally took us to the 1.618 before a sharp pullback. Level 2, sharp pullback. 2.618, it's hard to see, but we actually did stop here for a day. We went over it and then it became support twice at the 2.618. So as long as we hold above this 2.618 level, which is 29,719, our next fib projected target. 3.618 is one of those funky levels. It's actually not a fib level, but everyone looks at it. So I think we may see a wobble at 40,679, but our target is 47,470 if we can hold above 29,700. We're going holding above 29,700 takes us to 47. Now, let's see what we've done about holding above this level. Pretty good. I think we've made a pretty decent ABC correction here, and we're turning up higher again. In fact, I would even draw it like this. So say, God, are we about to break out? The problem is, I have this thing about third touches being false breakouts, and so we need this to play out a bit, and then then I get a bit funny about the 50% level and closing above it. So I'm going to mark that in as well. Say, okay, if we get above that 50% level, I'm in. And that level is here. Let's put it on the right. 33718. Chainlink Bitcoin. I'm long. 33718. And my target is 47,000 and change. We put it on the right. 47,469. Now, why am I not in yet? And this is a clue. When you see these hourly moving averages and how they're the wrong way around, the 20s underneath the 50, whenever I see that, it tends to retest the lows. So even though this is a really nice ABC all ready to go, when these moving averages are the wrong way around, it tends to retest the lows like this and make a bit of a double bottom thing. Or this is the pattern you'll see when it wants to go sideways. Maybe, sometimes maybe this hourly 200 needs to catch up. So if we do a little bit of slow sideways, so you can afford to be a bit patient in this chain link and watch for this retest. And maybe if we take our time and this 200 moving average comes out, then we'll be ready to go. But I do think it's setting up for the next leg higher, and it'd be a really nice big one. Okay. Link is done. BNB. Here we are at the Amazon of shitcoins. Well done, Kitty. In fact, every time it goes up like 10 cents, James says, why did we ever sell BNB? But I'm joking, but it did have a really great run, didn't it? Did have a really great run. And I'm actually not too, but this is the tether chart. And we need to go to the weekly. Because we're doing our confluence clusters, okay? So I do my red one from here to here. I do my purple one from here to here. These clusters kind of have been working so far. And everything lines up a little bit higher at 46.24, but we've got a bit of resistance where we are here. And so we've had a bit of a pullback in our uptrend. Now, if I hide these, and we put our fibs on this way, was it enough to break our uptrend, get us underneath a 236 fib, and have us break down? No. In fact, in terms of fibs, we're still in a pretty good uptrend. In fact, 31.22 from this low to high would be a really good place to look at buying in. So potentially we are at or approaching a level where we might want to watch and see for a bullish reversal in BNB US dollar tether here, or a little bit lower, around 30. So when I see this, I watch these hourly moving averages. I see if we can flip them around. I'm watching for a bottoming pattern, something like that. Not quite there yet, but I have got my eye on BNB tether. Have we got something similar going on in BNB Bitcoin? Well, yeah, we have actually. Why? Okay, because I think we've made a big ABC correction in BNB Bitcoin. If I measure from this high to this low, and I project it, and I know you're going to go, oh, move it. Look, everyone with OCD is going like, she better move it. I can't stand it. Okay, we didn't quite reach the equal measured move level, but we did back test a fib level and a previous high. And remember, in this one, I've drawn my fibs from this high to this low, and they've projected each high. So fibs are like a staircase. You kind of come back and test the one that you broke before. So this was actually, although we didn't quite reach our measured move level, a great level for BNB to find support here. A great level. So if we're going to find support early, not go all the way down to our 236 fib level, what would be the confirmation that we're going up again? Well, it would be if we broke the 236 fib going higher. And if I put my regular candles on, here we are right at the level. We could do it today. So we're very close to potentially a breakout here. Now, on the hourly, it looks like we've already been above, and we might be above. And are we going to be? Aren't we going to be? I don't know. I think so. But the daily close was kind of what we need to see. So, yes. If you wanted to put, so again, I think BTC might have a little bit of a rally here, but some of the bigger alts are going to outperform. And they are Link, Litecoin, BNB, and EOS, maybe. So those are the ones we should be looking at to see if they can get a go higher. And Litecoin still, I think. And basic attention token, you know, maybe. But this, yes, a daily close above 31,000 would be bullish for Binance Bitcoin, and a really good place to go with your money. Ren is next. Now, Ren, not sure who asked for this. Somebody in my group. And when you look at it, let's see what's going on now. Oh look, I've got all my old... Well, I'm afraid this one is still in a downtrend, and a pretty miserable one. Let's take the biggest swing and try and see if we get any working levels from this one. What I really want to see is if that 1272 was a level or held as support. And it wasn't really. It's kind of not really, was it? So maybe this one up here is going to be where we need to be finding our supports from. So we'll go all the way up here. So here's the 1272. No, that's the negative number. So that's not going to help us at all. So we're just going to try for this most recent swing lower and see what's going on from here. See if we get any supports that work from this. Not really. So I'm going to say, you know, we're still in a downtrend and still looking lower. And unless we can at least get back above that 20 moving average and turn it around, and we're not going anywhere. So if you want to, this is a downtrend, so you should be looking to get out of, on bounces, back to these moving averages. You should be selling if you bought it and shouldn't have. Okay, and what you want to see for us to have a chance of not going down anymore, you want to see us stop going down and flatten out and go sideways for a bit and make a bit of a base in this one. I just don't have any way to project a level for Ren to stop yet. But this kind of pattern, we could have very easily from this sideways consolidation here in Ren gone higher. We didn't. It ended up that we broke out the other way. But when you get this sideways consolidation, you really don't know. And you make, this is when you make the chart patterns, the bullish chart patterns or bearish chart patterns, whenever you're going sideways. And this is what we need to see happen again and calm down before we can see if we can make a base in Ren. So not there yet. Next one somebody asked for was called Algo. Algo Rand. And then we'll look at Leo. Now, this is a sideways rising, I'm going to say rising wedge, although I haven't really. It's had a really nasty fall on the daily. We're looking to see if we can start making a run higher, get back to maybe the 236 fib, which is up here at these previous highs at 1768. We've got this sideways consolidation. If we break this to the upside, our target is back to 16,768. If we break this to the downside, though, we're going to retest these lows at 11,136 in Algorand and Bitcoin, and not much to do. And even if we look at Algorand US dollar or Tether, you know, there's really no compelling reason to buy this yet. It's potentially holding the lows for a double bottom, potentially. And if we do that, then obviously the top of our range is up here, and we'll be going up there if we, well, get above the hourly 20 moving average, if we get above the 236 fib or something like that, these lows, then we can say, okay, back to the top of the range. But for now, yeah, not quite enough information for me, for Algorand, to want to buy it yet. Or a big enough, and not enough chart information for a level, unfortunately. But yeah, a double bottom would be a really good one to watch. So watch to see if we can hold this level at 1.3. Algo Tether. Algo Tether, Algo Bitcoin. Sideways ranges, just waiting to see. At least it's not going down, let's put it that way. So many altcoins have been going down. At least Algo is not going down. Okay, now Leo and Atom, we're going to finish with them. Leo, this is, we'll call this one a winner, because this is a really nice little winner. Okay. So I drew my fibs on this one the way Connie Brown wouldn't like it, which is from the low to the high, rather than the other way around. So from this low to this high. There was actually a really nasty spike in this coin, and I ignored it. And I don't know if I did the right thing by doing that. Maybe I shouldn't have. But when I put it on, I look at this and say, you know, this was a save at the 886 fib. And if I draw it that here, my 886 fib is down here from this low. Okay? And if I put it up here like this, the 886 fib comes higher, and for me it was still a save at the 886 fib. The difference is the target, because when you reverse at an 886 fib, which we're doing, your target is the 50%. So my target, if I do it from this higher spike, is 21,150, and my target, if I do it from this lower spike, is 18,731. And so I'm not sure which one it is. I probably should go with the spike, and so we're going to go 21,150. That's where we're headed to in Leo Bitcoin. Now, so far so good. We've got a small problem to get through, and that's this daily 20 moving average, which is a little bit higher, and it's around 18,000. So potentially a little bit of a sticky problem. I'm going to take this 786 fib away now because we don't need it, and we're going to go by our moving averages. So around, we know around 18,000 we may see a bit of a pullback, and if we look around 18,000 is these trend highs here as well, so it wouldn't be weird if we had a bit of a setback there. But Leo, I'm pretty bullish, and I'm looking for 21,150. Hello M Cox, we haven't looked at Matic. I will check it on the end though for you. Just looking at Leo, really nice. I'm quite bullish, and I'm going to look at Atom. Ta-da! And I've got Matic right here, so I'll do it. Now, Atom is another one that's potentially a double bottom. Potentially. It's been a bit of a fuzzy retest. In fact, it's been pretty good. I'm going to take these away because nothing this worked. Did they? This didn't happen. This didn't happen. And I'm going to move that to this slightly lower low here, like this, if we're going to hold it. So what are the signs that we're going to hold? First off, if we do hold it, we'll bounce up to the big 236 fib. So we'll mark where that is. Up here at 5860. And how are we going to know if we're going to get there? Well, I think let's take this most recent swing lower here and say if we get above the 236 fib, we're on our way to that one. So we'll do a different color. Blue. There we go. Oh, look, that lines up with the 618 from this swing. So here we are. We're like faffing around this 236 fib, trying to get above it. We kind of need to get a shimmy on, don't we? We're a little bit above it, so I'm leaning towards a little bit bullish, but you know, it's just a sideways range until we do. So I'd like to see us break out of this sideways range. Target would be 58.71, and then second target above there, gosh, would be 6.50. So yeah, not a double bottom really until we start doing that. You think I skipped Ren? Yeah, I think I did Ren, so let me see. Oh, I did skip Ren. Bloody hell. Well done. Okay, I'm going to do Ren. Okay, this is Ren Bitcoin. Now, I wouldn't have picked this for a choice for something to look at because, you know, you cannot overestimate how important previous highs are. People use them for profit taking. So this isn't necessarily going to turn into a triple top here at 880 in Ren. But it is major resistance, and we are super stretched as we get here. In fact, just to get back to the daily 20 moving average would be 50% drop. Okay, and so for me, like, recommending anybody buy anything up here is not really, you know, good advice. At this point, you should be looking to take profit as well. Now, let's hide this. What's going to tell you that this has stopped going up? Well, your first warning. Now, if this is a big, say this is a big 1, 2, if this is a big wave 3, the most likely place we come back to is the 38.2, which is around here. That's quite a lot to give back, though. I would say just take this most recent swing and this 236 fib at 789, and if that breaks 789 and that previous high, I would get out and wait for the bigger pullback, and I would go to a lower time frame and see where we come back to. Just because, you know, it's looking a little bit double toppy, we're going to need to see a little bit of correction and so on. So, you know, just play defense, okay? So if you get out here, you've got to be, now if you get out here and you're really bad at getting back in, don't get out. You might as well ride it, because if you're not going to get back in, you're going to miss out. I think potentially we could come back to this 38.2, 730, maybe between 730 and 680 is where the support is, and we're at 800 now. So that's where this box would be, where I'd be looking for a bullish reversal to buy it back again, and for us to be turning from red to green and turning back up again. Now, if I'm wrong, we might just do a little bit of sideways shimmying here, and then we might just break these highs to the upside. in which case it would be really smart, so you don't miss it, to have an alert on the upside, which I'm going to pop on now. And then if it does decide to break the highs, we'll know about it. And now let's go back and say, okay, where are we going to go if we break these highs? We're going to go from this here, 1272. We're going to go to 1042 and then 1241, and using fib projections from here, from this high to low. So good luck. Just don't let it come back too far on you, okay? Atom. So yeah, Atom may be bottom. Let's see Matic, and then we'll look at Matic. We didn't do Ontology, wasn't requested. So Matic now. Like a lot of altcoins, this looks like a very nice 5 waves up to me. 3-wave correction. It was quite a deep 3-wave correction. In fact, if I put my like this, it was almost an 886, but I'm not going to use those rules because it wasn't quite one. Okay, so from this high to this low, the 236 in Matic that we need to break above to go higher is at 225, and we haven't been able to break above it. It was the high yesterday, and we've got knocked back there. What I also am a little bit nervous about in Matic is this looks like an equal ABC correction. And because of that, I'm going to keep my stop. If I was long Matic, I'd keep my stop really tight underneath it at 195. Okay? So you're looking for 195 to be support and for us to break above 225. And if we can do that, happy days. We're going to go to 292, and then the 50% at these previous highs is here at 346. Our target's 346. Above 225, 346. If we drop back below 194, I'm out because it's an ABC and we could see a big 786 pullback. So keep it quite tight, your risk management, this one. Don't let it come all the way back in Matic. And Ontology and Pundi. Pundi is usually hanging around here. Here's so Pundi. It's just, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. This is Pundi dollar, and we haven't like done anything. Look, for the whole of June, really, we've been in this range. It's just been dire, really. Let's see where we are. There's that spike high. Yeah, when did this start? 7th of June. So I honestly don't know which way next. Like in terms of all-time high lows to highs, we're just sort of oscillating at the 50%, aren't we? And this big 50% level seems to have been very previous. We're just sideways at it, bunched up daily moving averages, and I really wouldn't like to say which way next. There's just one. There. I think if this wedge breaks down, that the support that we're looking for to buy in Pundi tether is 71,500. Pundi. I know you're going to ask, so maybe a little bit lower, 71,500. I know someone's going to ask me to look at it against Bitcoin. Such chunky ticks, I don't like it. I don't like charting it against Bitcoin, but here we go. You know, we're starting to see the first signs off the lows, and above the daily 20 today is pretty bullish, isn't it, for Pundi against Bitcoin. I don't really want to see that. Let's see. I think above 10 we're probably gonna be going higher, but 10 is going to be big resistance. It's the daily 50 moving average. It's 50% of this last swing lower. So I think if we're going to have trouble in Pundi, 10 is going to be where it's at, and then above 10, happy days. ONT. I haven't got it here. 1 second. Fantom. Okay, Fantom. This is Fantom while I load ONT. So if we look at these big fibs from the all-time lows to highs in Fantom as a bit of a staircase, we bounced off the 786. We got above this 618. So we now need to hold above this 618 if we're going to keep going higher. So this is what I'm going to looking at. Okay, this is a pretty nice inverted head and shoulders pattern, and this is the 618 level that I want to see Fantom hold at 24,300. It's not quite a screaming buy yet for me. So it may be that we dip a bit underneath this level again. I really wouldn't want to see that. But the next swing higher after that, I'd be looking at Fantom. So I'm looking for it to hold 24,400. And next upside target is 33,800 for Fantom. The reason we got that target is when you reverse it to 786 fib, your target is the 382. So we should be looking for 33,900 next and hold above 24,400 in Fantom. And in ONT, Ontology, finally, here we go. Here's Ontology dollar. Now, I'm going to put, I had these fibs going and I'd drawn them from a really funky level, which is like the last swing lower, and I probably should have done it from the big swing high. But if we do that and we say, look, we reversed at the 886, our target was the 50, we got there. So we're at the level where really we should bounce from here in Ontology. But I feel bad because I shouldn't really have drawn the fibs from just that low swing. And I really probably should be looking much higher. At this big 236, and we'll look at instead horizontal levels. So Ontology seems to have been stuck at this horizontal resistance. And like so many of the altcoins, unless we can break it, and this Ontology level here is 1.75, we're stuck in a sideways range. If we lose the lows of these range, and if we lose this daily 50 here in the middle, then we're going to go to the bottom again, which is the 200 moving average down here. So don't diddle in the middle. We're right in the middle of our sideways range here in Ontology US dollar. If I want to use fib values for it, we're sitting on this 50% level. If we drop one lower, we're going to go to the 61.8 and then maybe the 786 and so on. So 1.293 is support. Below there, we go lower. Not a buy, like not a doing anything, is it, against the dollar? Ontology Bitcoin. Oh yeah, this chart. Is that on the level? Okay. So in Ontology, we've got these previous lows that are acting as a resistance. But you know, it's not just these previous lows, it's all the way from these previous lows here, isn't it? So this swing low here, this swing low there, it's like a wall of resistance that we've got to get above. And so far we haven't done very well in terms of a good job of getting above it. If we look down at the 4-hour, this has been resistance and resistance, and whilst we stay underneath this, the risk is that we continue lower and our target is 1,080. So only if we get back above 1,370 have we got a chance. Otherwise, we stay in a downtrend in Ontology Bitcoin and 1,080. So no trend yet for Ontology. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. Bitcoin. Let's recap Bitcoin, because I think there's a possibility in Bitcoin that we rally. Remember, if we drew this as a... And there are people that are saying that this is just a wave 4. We've got another wave 5 to come. If we look at this, A, B, C, then this, in fact, is that 61.8 level where we could say, yes, this is an ABC correction here in Bitcoin. We could hold this daily 20 moving average. And so if we're going to do that, let's go back. We need to watch out that this is not just like the first swing in a bigger kind of A, B, C correction. Let's see. So far, so good. Now, confirmation, we're properly going up in Bitcoin. And that this is the bullish reversal we're looking for, is above 10,877 here. So yeah, bon chance. Good luck. I do think, based on the weekly close and daily close, that this bounce is just a bounce retest, and that we will have another leg of correction to come this month before we make a bottom in Bitcoin, just based on this weekly chart. Okay, bye everyone.